Okay, on 3 days, I placed my camera in the same location, right there in that little corner. Um, and I wanted to see what the Bayport bird rack would look like. Now, the only thing that changes is the depth of the water or the tides on this particular day. The tide was fairly up there high. I give it about another 4 inches, and that was pretty close to the bottom of my tripod. So this would be about 28, 32 inches if you add on 4 inches to 28 inches. All right, and this was taken on 11/14/2019. And as you see, I'll zoom in here to the Bayport rack. You'll notice that it is compressed and it is distorted. All right, I tried everything I could do to focus the camera better on it, and I could not get it focused any better than what I got. This is at full zoom right here. So I said, okay, well, right here is full zoom. So I got in full zoom. Then you'll see the camera shake a little bit because I'm trying to adjust the focus on it. And as anybody knows that tries to focus on a distorted object, you cannot focus on it. But there's 7 slats that goes across it. In other words, there's little 7 boards that cut across it. And if you try to count them here, it is almost impossible. Um, you get so many of them, and then when you get down to the bottom, everything just kind of mashes in. It's just all distorted and compressed. And this has a lot to do with our visibility. The better the visibility, the better this object will appear. Um, Now, I kind of pride myself on going out and doing a lot of these observations, and then, looking at them and comparing them for myself and trying to determine what exactly is going on. In science, I don't know. They claim it's refraction that pulls all these objects up from behind the curve and raises them up flat out in front of you. But I see refraction as what cuts objects off. Um, and there's many reasons why. All right, and this next part here, I don't have a video of exactly where my camera was located. I forgot my cell phone, but there's that corner, and you can also tell that the tide is really, really far out. So actually, my camera is up quite high. If you take into consideration down to the bottom is a couple of feet. So I had a couple of feet on there, 28 inches. I would say I'm a good 4.5 feet above the water. So you would expect me to get a much better visibility or better image of this bird rack. And this is the same bird rack. This is the Bayport bird rack, the Bayport entrance rack, they call it. And it's approximately 3.5 miles away. And what do we got here is that we actually have a double um, mirroring image. You got the same image on the bottom as you got on the top. But then when you try to count those racks, everything is just squashed into itself. Heavy distortion, heavy mirroring going on. Obviously, you can see how bad the mirroring is. And as I'm sitting here trying to focus it and get the best focus, because I always like to be able to count those slots or those horizontal cross members there going across the rack itself. And I know that there's 7 of them because I've gone out there, right up firsthand and actually measured this. It measured 10 foot wide. I do believe it was like 14 feet tall. Add on the light at the top, and you probably got another 2 feet. So you're looking at 16 feet of a bird rack. And this is funny too. As you see these birds, you can see the bird fly off the water and then fly to the top, but you also see the bird fly to the bottom. This is just like going into a fun house and looking at yourself in a mirror, and they got the concave convex mirrors in there, and you'll find yourself getting so compressed, and on some of them, if you walk up closer to them, you actually will vanish, disappear into your own reflection. Um, Now this was done on the 18th. The last one was done on the 17th. This one was done on the 18th, a day later. And obviously the water is up there again, and not quite as high, but it is quite up there, a couple inches down. And the tide was actually coming in all the time that I was doing this filming. Again, and this, I left this part in here because I thought it was pretty cool seeing how this the sun was reflecting itself and then vanishing into itself as these waves were working their way across. And I got quite a bit of footage of this because I just let my camera kind of set there on it for a long period of time and watched that light just get stretched out all the way across the water, which it can't happen on a ball, that's for sure. That's one thing that I say. And then, a concaver would say that, that this is going upward, but I always contest to them that first thing they have to do is find your eye level. Now, I determined my eye level on one day where I had my camera up. I do believe it was like six feet off the water, above the Bayport rack. So because of perspective, items get smaller. So your eye level is not where you think it is. You would think that if I looked at that boat and picked out, say, 32 inches up off that boat, I would just be at the top of it. But it's actually above this rack. This is where my eye level would be. How did I determine that? By using a level and my virtual horizon to find where that level would be. Yes, and there could be a variance in it. And also look at, this particular day, the mirroring wasn't as bad, but there was mirroring going on. So, but look how much better this is. Now there was 7 of them, including the top, cross members across this thing. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is compressed with its mirror image underneath. And that's what happens is it blends in with the other, it blends into its own image, that bottom rail. Also, look at the mirroring of this sign to the right of your screen. This is pretty awesome. And this is how I see a lot of things getting stretched out, the mirror image, especially the clouds in the horizon. When there's a heavy mirroring, you'll see this, the mirror image of the clouds below. And this is where I say you have to actually go up higher on that, because that mirror image is getting stretched out over possibly miles and miles of water, because each little increment, just say if you cut this down to millimeters, you got a lot of distance. Now, this next part here, I just did a comparison of all 3 of the racks. I took a screenshot of each one, and obviously you can tell there's a difference. There's not much of a difference in the width, but you also got to take into consideration, if it wasn't distorted, would there be a difference in the width? And I think that there would be. But there's definitely difference in the height. All right, well, this is as far as I'm going to go with it. Thanks a lot for watching. Just make this a short little video. All right, bye.